So
and this was after his accident. So he was on his comeback. You know, he was trying to. This was that video where he's like, you know, it's because I had that. You know, I'm still DOC. You know what I mean?
So you was living your dream at that point.
Mm-hmm.
What made you transition to doing movies? What made you say, you know what, I'm gonna step it up, and this is cool, kicking it with the rappers and getting this rap money? What made you say, you know what, I want this Hollywood thing?
That was the initial whole purpose of getting into it. You know, from age 12 and 13, I want to make movies. So it so happens that I got into the videos, and the videos was the film school for me, teaching me how to actually select the right lenses, select the right lighting. At that time, I was shooting on film, not video, so it wasn't like I could dump it onto the hard drive. I had to, like, you know, each roll of film was 11 minutes. So a song is about 4 minutes. So I had to figure out how to, you know, not waste my film, how to shoot my verses. Okay, we're gonna shoot the first verse here, we're gonna shoot the second verse here, we're gonna shoot the third verse here, you know, break it down to where it's like, if I order, you know, and these are low budget productions, so if I order 4 rolls of film, you know, that's 44 minutes, so I only got a certain amount of time to shoot it, and then I only got a certain amount of, and then as you order the film, certain films for the day, certain films for the night, certain films for inside, you know, so it was like really,
it's tedious.
Yeah, you know, it wasn't like today we can just pop it in and, you know, you can film in any kind of lighting condition. Nah, but you have to really know your shit, you know. So, you know, so that was just a whole lesson within itself, but I learned that in the music video world. So then, but while doing that, it was like, I want to make movies. I want to make movies. That was the whole like push and reason why I got up to do it, because I want to make movies. And then so fast forward, and then it was like, you know, but I want to make, so my thing was also like, I want to make a movie that really means something, because I had other comrades, peers at my time that was doing films, and it wasn't my style of filmmaking. So I was like, well, for my first one, I you know, it's got to be solid. It's got to be something to where, you know, it makes sense. So then Black August come across the desk, and I read, and I was like, wow, yo, this is that joint. Yeah, you know, no disrespect to, you know, the not the bullshit films and videos or concepts, but it wasn't on that shit. It wasn't on no ghetto shit. It wasn't on, you know, it was on some like, you know, fight for power, black power, political shit. You know, and I was like, man, this is it. This is it. Let's go.
So you worked with J.R. Ryder and a number of other people on that film, right? Mm-hmm. How was that? Was it hard in terms of taking it from what you was doing in the streets with the different rappers, where it's not as formal? Now you're dealing with big money scripts and a crew, and not just your partner, but a crew. Or what was the process like? How did you put that together? Was it your ragtag crew from the hood, or
it was a little bit of all that. Everything that I had done up until that made sense, because, you know, the script came across me through one of my editors.
Did you know who George Jackson was before that?
I didn't know who George was. I didn't know who he was. And but when I read it, it was like, wow, well, you know, I started immediately going to the research mode, and I found out who he was. But you know, the brother who wrote it was BGF, you know. But I just thought the script was amazing, just because of the content, you know, that it wasn't, you know, Pookie and all that kind of shit, you know. So we went through him to J.R. Ryder, and he was like, yeah, you know. And I was even like, you know, kind of like, oh wow, J.R. Ryder, man, that's dope, you know.
That's
like,
yeah,
exactly. I was like, wow, this is interesting. How was working out, and how was unfolding, you know. And he said, yeah. And I was like, wow. I remember leaving. We had that meeting at his house up in Oakland Hills, and I remember leaving his house, and I was like, is this really happening?
So it just happened that quick.
It did.
You went to JR house with a script.
Yeah.
At this time, JR was a star. Was he right out of the league?
He was right out the league.
He was right fresh, probably 2-3 years out of the league.
Yep.
So he was still on top.
Yeah,
he was still.
Yeah.
And then you went in one way and basically came out a producer of a multi-million-dollar movie.
Yeah.
So what was the process like? I mean, you was doing a historical film. Do you take that do you take that more serious than you take the music video, or?
I took it the same way. It
Same way?
felt like the same game. You know, it was just like more days of filming, bigger crew. You know what I mean? I need a star. You know, it just was.
And your main character was a star, because I mean, at that time, or a little bit before that, he was in the Janet Jackson video.
Yeah, he was on CSI at the time.
What's his name?
Gary Dourdan.
And he was the main. How did you look that up?
So through the music videos, you know, you build
Relationships.
Yeah, you know. So got with a casting director, and you know, studying George, I'm like, well, you know, let me get someone at least kind of resembles him, you know. So I had a couple actors, and you know, that I looked at, and I said, okay, go get these people. And he went and got them, and they came back, and they was like, it now came down to scheduling and who's available and who isn't. And Gary was the one who was available. I also had on this, oh man, I forget his name, but he played Smiley and Do the Right Thing. Yeah, Mama Malcolm. I can't think of his name right now, but you know, but it was them two. And
Roger.
Say again?
Roger Smith.
Roger, right. So it was them two. Roger Smith, it was them two, but his schedule wasn't available, but Gary's was. So Gary's with it. So we fly down to LA and lock it in, and you know, and boom.
How long did it take
to shoot it?
How long did it take to shoot? How long did it take from script to post production? How long did it take to come out?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with the response?
Response from
The film itself.
I was. I don't think I was. I don't know. For some reason, I wasn't. Yeah, I was. I'll say that first. But I think I was doing it more. So during the filming, his son.
George Jackson's.
Yeah, his son. No, Jonathan Jackson's son. His son came. We brought him to set. I was able to get in contact with him. We brought him to set. He was also able to get in contact with George's mom, just to like, we're doing this film. You know, can you give us the green light and blessings on that? So that was cool. You know, that was So when Jonathan Jr. came to set, the day he came to set was a day. My Lord. The day he came to set was the day we shot the scene that his father was getting killed at the Marin County Courthouse. You know, and just to watch him go through that day, and to like, even 2 days before that, when we picked him from the airport, we just had conversations about his father and his uncle, and just the, you know, what he remembers, you know. And then he called his mom, and we talked to his mom, you know, Jonathan's lady at the time. We just, you know, it was just interesting how that. So I think for me, how he felt about the film was like really actually more important than anything, you know, to me, you know.
You know what was interesting about the film to me that wasn't even really connected to the film is that somebody on YouTube took the Jonathan Jackson footage and used it for another Pig Bites the Dust video for Askari X, the Askari X song with the Delinquents, and it almost matches perfectly, like if it was shot for the Askari X, another Pig Bites the Dust, and you see Jonathan and going through the courthouse, and you know what I'm saying, Michelle McGee and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you feel as a filmmaker in being recognized as one of the few, and especially of that early period, one of the few or one of the first hip hop filmmakers and hip hop film producers that's from the town, that is respected from the town? I mean, there's a lot of people from the town, but the town, you know, honors you. So how do you feel about that? Like,
wow, I ain't even look at it like that. I ain't even thought about it like that. You know, I'm just, you know, I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't know.
Well, let me ask you a better question. I mean, you could be rich, and I'm sure that's better, but how much does this respect mean to you? That Oakland respects you in your art, and knowing that you are one of the pillars that helped a lot of foundational groups. I mean, you said SIBO, GLP, the Delinquents, you know, you talking about George Jackson.
Right.
I mean, all this is regional and national and international stuff. What you feel about that?
That's deep, yo. I ain't never thought about it like that, but right on. I'll take the respect. You know, I appreciate it.
But I'm saying, what I'm trying to get out of you is, what is the respect versus money? I mean, we all want the money, but you do have respect. What does respect mean in the game? What does respect mean in Oakland?
I think respect. I think respect means that you can actually convince the youth that, you know, if I was to talk to a youth who wants to be a filmmaker or writer or whatever, that they would listen, as opposed to driving up in something shiny. You know, they listen too, but then, like, you know, if I'm just driving up something shiny and I just want to shine, and then the advice I give you is not, you know, it's just about the shine. It's not about your art. It's not about what you really love to do. Then, you know, at some point, they're gonna see through that shit. They're gonna be like, you know, dude, it's not. I don't want to be a shiner. I just want to really make movies. I just really want to be an artist. You know, so I think the respect for me means that if I can connect with the next brothers and sisters that want to come up and do the like-minded and give them the guidance to get to where they're trying to get, then that's where it's at.